I'm Sakshi. I'm an energy and mindset rewiring coach. I help people overcome the traumas of their past and any blocks that they have created in their subconscious mind from their past experience. I help them rewire it, re-script it, reparent it so they have an empowered present so that they can go forward in the future that they wish to create for themselves. I believe that everyone can create the life that they truly want for themselves, and that's what I'm here to help them, to empower them to create that life. So anxiety is spoken about a lot these days because a lot of people, somehow or the other, are facing a lot of anxiety. And I want to talk to you about what anxiety is from a mindset perspective and a subconscious perspective, but I also want to bring this awareness to all the viewers that please don't just watch videos and diagnose yourself with anxiety. Please go visit a healthcare professional and talk to them and truly understand if you have an anxiety disorder or not. Most likely you don't have it, but it's just this fleeting anxiety in moments. And during this video, we will be covering different ways in which you can identify if you have anxiety or not. But if I am to give you my understanding of what anxiety is, which I have defined over the years based on my own battle with anxiety, with my research with psychiatrists and psychologists and counselors, and here is what I've understood about what is anxiety. Anxiety is a future-related fear. It's always to do with the future. So we all live our life and we all have certain outcomes that we want from the future, right? Now, in these outcomes, it might happen, it might not happen, because we cannot predict what happens in the future, and life is too long and there are too many factors that play a role. What happens is, in an anxiety state of mind, you overestimate the negative events that will happen in your future, and you underestimate your own ability to handle those negative events. So I may want to launch a business, and if I have this anxiety mindset, I will overestimate the negative events from having. There will be an economic downturn, the war might impact me, my family won't support me, I will lose my job, and I will underestimate my own ability to deal with this. If all of this happens, I don't have the money, I don't have the power, I don't have the support, no one's gonna like me, imposter syndrome sets in. So we really start minimizing our ability to work with anything, and we overestimate the negative outcome. And this is what causes anxiety. So again, the root cause of anxiety, it can come from various places because there are different kinds of anxiety. There is a general anxiety disorder. There is separation anxiety. There is anxiety which is related to post-traumatic stress disorder. There is anxiety which is caused by phobias and fears. So your anxiety could come from anywhere. But yes, the root or a trigger of an anxiety comes from your past experience. So someone who has social anxiety, for example, they fear going out in a social setting. So if a friend has invited them over for a party with, say, 20 people, and they feel like, I can't go out, I feel nervous, they're feeling the palpitation, they're feeling their stomach tensing up, right? But this is not happening because they're convinced something bad will happen. In their past, something bad might have happened. Something embarrassing might have happened or traumatic might have happened, which has created this trigger that every time I go out in social gatherings, I will be embarrassed or I will be traumatized or my past event will happen again. And this might cause social anxiety. This is also a very, the root reason for separation anxiety. So as a child growing up, if you had faced abandonment from a mother or abandonment from a father or a caretaker, you might feel like everyone will abandon me, and that might lead to separation anxiety. So yes, it is your past events that typically happen in your childhood, mostly, that formulate your future triggers of an anxiety, or an anxious situation. So general anxiety is this free-floating anxiety that you always have, right? And again, please visit a doctor. Don't diagnose yourself by watching this video. Visit a doctor to see if you really have a general anxiety disorder. But what happens is that every situation makes you fearful. Every situation makes you tense. There is physical somatic tenseness in the body. and you feel fearful of the situation. There is a pit in your stomach. In a general anxiety disorder, a person constantly lives in fear of something bad happening. Many times there isn't even an event that's going to happen in the future, but they still feel it. Like, I'm sitting, I have a weekend coming up, there's nothing, I have no plans, but I still have this fear that something bad might happen. And that happens in a general anxiety case. What causes fear? That is such a loaded question. There are so many things that can cause fear. First, there's a difference in fear and phobias. And we should not see fear and phobias in the same zone. They're very different. Phobia is an unexplained fear that comes from a complete absence of any interaction or engagement that happened before, right? When we came into this room, there was a cockroach in the room, and you said, I have a phobia of the cockroach. It's unexplained. It's not from any experience that happened before. It comes from some part of my subconscious that I can't explain why I have it, but it is dread. So I can overcome my fear, but overcoming phobia takes a lot more. It's not as easy as I will face my fear and then I will be fine with it. Phobia takes a lot more than that. Fear, on the other hand, comes from a previous bad experience. So fear could be fear of anything. Fear of an animal, fear of losing a loved one, fear of losing money, fear of losing your job. So fear of another human being, but it all comes from your previous experience of an engagement that you had in a certain situation that made you extremely uncomfortable. It might have scarred you, it might have traumatized you, and you carry those memories with you. And it's not just a memory, you carry the emotional baggage of that memory with you. So every time the same topic is brought up again, it's the emotions that you start reliving that causes this intense fear in your body. Yes, there is a difference between thoughts and thinking. And I know why you're asking that. This comes from overthinking, which happens a lot when someone is going through anxiety. They tend to overthink everything. And there is a difference between thought and thinking. Thoughts are random, thoughts are constant, and we cannot control our thoughts. I repeat myself, we cannot control our thoughts. They are random and they are constant. And a lot of people misinterpret when they say, I can't control my thoughts, I'm going to try and control my thoughts. You can't do that. Thinking, on the other hand, is deliberate. Thinking is a choice. Thinking is a process. So I may have a million thoughts running at the back of my mind. Even as I'm talking to you right now, I have a lot of thoughts at the back of my mind. Even you, when you're asking me these questions, I know you have questions at the back of your mind. Thoughts, random objects. If someone's hungry, they're thinking about food. But we don't have to engage with all your thoughts. Thinking is when you engage with a particular thought and answer that. Like you asked me, what is the difference in thought and thinking? I might be thinking of multiple things in the background of my mind. I might be having multiple thoughts at the background of my mind, but I choose to engage with only this particular thought to process it. In overthinking, we forget that it's our choice to choose our thoughts. We want to engage with all the thoughts and process all of them, and this creates a burnout. This is what creates overload of information, because you can't be engaging with every single thought. A thought can come and pass. Some of them are dark thoughts. Some of them are dense thoughts. Some of them are random, weird thoughts that you don't even know where they're coming from. Some are positive thoughts. We choose to engage with them and convert them into a thinking process. Okay, so top signs of anxiety. First, this constant feeling of something bad is going to happen. And it's different from a gut feeling. And I would encourage people to not ignore your gut feeling, because it really comes from your stomach. But when every single time you're having this knot in your stomach that says something bad is going to happen, then you know this is anxiety, because every time your gut feel can't say something bad is going to happen. Second, it's this fear that you feel. It's an unexplained fear, like I said before. So maybe no event is coming up in the future, but still you live in this fear of, I don't know when, what's going to hit me from where, right? Third, you start feeling somatic charges in your body. You will feel aches in your stomach. You will feel palpitations or feeling difficult to breathe, heaviness in your shoulders, constant headaches. Now, I'm talking about these things that happen constantly and frequently, not one-off event. If you have a headache today, doesn't mean you have anxiety. But if you're constantly having headaches, constantly having tenseness in your shoulders, your jaws, the pit of your stomach, then you know this is anxiety. Yeah, so sleeplessness and nightmares is also very common, and it's extremely growing. It's a growing concern amongst people, and a lot of people that could never dream before are now coming to me and saying, you know what, I never used to dream, but now I'm getting nightmares from nowhere. And yes, a part of it is from overthinking, and I would say it's inability to process your thoughts before you sleep. So let's understand what happens when we sleep. When we sleep, our conscious mind is downloading the messages into our subconscious mind. Our conscious mind is choosing what to download into the subconscious and what to delete from the memory, which is why you will not remember everything that happens in your day. The next day, you'll forget half of it because it wasn't important. But some parts of it flow down into your subconscious mind. This is a process that your mind is doing while you're sleeping. Now, just imagine if you overwhelm your mind with so many thoughts and so many thinking patterns. So your mind is overworked at this point. It doesn't know how many should I delete and how many should I send into my subconscious mind. So it's over processing and overworked. This, coupled with bad food, means your gut is now unhealthy. So your digestive tract is working extremely hard to process your digestion, and your mind is working very hard to process all the thoughts and thinking. And this combination together sends your body into an overload. So sleep is when we rest and when our cells are regenerating. But in this case, while we are sleeping, they're not able to regenerate because the focus is on digesting food that's very hard and processing the million thoughts that are still in my head. And this is what causes disturbance in the sleep, which is why I'm either unable to fall asleep because my mind is so stimulated and active, or even if I do fall asleep, I'm seeing bad dreams or I'm seeing nightmares because the mind is showing me things that it's processing, which is not supposed to show me, right? The best way to overcome the nightmares, I mean, there are multiple ways, but this is what I personally like to do, and I always recommend to all my clients, is journal before you sleep. So you take a pen and paper and you write down your thoughts. And this doesn't have to be the kind of journaling that will be published someday. No one has to read it. You just have to write down everything that you're experiencing in the day, all the negative thoughts that you have, all the positive experiences that you had. Anything that you have, put pen on paper and just download it on that paper. If it bothers you that someone might read it, tear it and throw it away. It's not important that you need to preserve it. Some people say they are not very good writers. Like I said, nobody's publishing it. Doesn't matter if the spelling is wrong, if the grammar is wrong, not good in English, whatever language you want to write it in. If you absolutely can't write, doodle, sketch. It doesn't matter. Just take pen on paper and just start scribbling. Anything random. Your neurons will work on releasing all the unnecessary thoughts. You'll put it on paper and then you will see the difference yourself. Yes, so there's something we can do right now together, and everyone who's watching it, you can do it right now as well. So let's sit with our backs supported and upright. And if you want to close your eyes comfortably for a while, you can. If you want to keep it softly open, you can as well. And what I would like you to do is take 3 deep breaths in through your nose and out of your mouth. Ready? Let's do it together. So breathing in and breathing out of your mouth like you're blowing a candle. Okay? So doing it again, breathing in through your nose, breathing out of your mouth. And last one. And now just sit back and just observe yourself and just observe how you feel. There is an immediate release of happy hormones. There is an immediate release of all the bad thoughts because you don't need them anymore. So just do this activity. It is so simple. You can do it anywhere. You can do it in your office, you can do it while driving. It's very easy. Breathing in through your nose and breathing out of your mouth. The second activity is journaling. So the ones who are watching, you could pause the video, get a pen and paper, start writing it down, start writing how you feel, and then continue watching this video. And the final activity, which I absolutely love, is affirmations. And I think affirmations work so well because we are directly implanting into our nervous system a positive message, because our body is listening all the time. So when you're talking, your body is listening. If you say negative things, your body is listening to the negative things. So affirmation is those positive words that you place into your nervous system, which allows your body to feel more energized. And then the neural paths start rewiring themselves to make the affirmation come true within the body. So one of my favorite affirmations, which I use whenever I feel like I'm falling into my cycle of anxiety, is all is well in my world. Everything is taken care of. I am protected and I am taken care of by life itself. I love my life and all is well around me. My pleasure.
Thank you so much.